Hey everyone, welcome back to the Maryland Living Podcast. I'm John Reynolds and I'm here with my co-host Megan Burke. And our buddy Pete Fettig is back. We didn't expect him.
I'm back early. I jogged all the way from Florida.
Well, we're glad you're here. Hey, I noticed one thing as we were preparing for today's podcast. All three of us are left-handed.
We are.
And I wonder what that means.
It must mean something.
Like in the world of podcasting, is there another podcast where everyone around the microphones are left-handed?
Does this mean we need to change the name of our podcast?
To left-handers only?
On Maryland Living.
Left-handers on Maryland Living. I think that would work.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't want to shift the topic too hard, and I don't know whether he was a left-hander or a right-hander, but I do think it's worth noting that yesterday, former President Jimmy Carter passed away. Mr. Carter, Jimmy Carter, was the 39th president of the U.S. He was our president from 1977 to 1981. And I think regardless of anyone's political leanings, I think we can all agree that he was a good and honorable man.
Absolutely. Do you know that he was really involved with Habitat for Humanity?
Absolutely. He and Rosalind, his wife, they became like the face of Habitat for Humanity after his presidency.
Yeah.
I think he'll probably be remembered at least equally for that impact. Habitat for Humanity.
I was actually really lucky. I got to meet him on a Habitat for Humanity project in Annapolis long time ago. I worked for Bank of America at the time, and he really liked to show up and just provide support. We got our picture taken with him. It was in the paper. It was just cool. Him and his wife were there, and just really just good people.
Yeah, and they did the Habitat for Humanity not just nationally but around the globe.
Yeah.
Apparently, I know. For instance, he worked on at least one, maybe a few houses in the Sandtown neighborhood of Baltimore City.
Okay.
Back in the day, he was so involved in Habitat for Humanity that he won the Nobel Peace Prize. I think it was in 2002.
I didn't know that.
For his efforts.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll pour one out for President Jimmy Carter. The longest lived president in U.S. history.
He was 100, right?
He died at the ripe old age of 100
Crazy.
years old. So, yeah, God bless him.
Probably longest in hospice to survive.
Probably.
Like almost 2 years.
Was he in hospice for 2 years?
It was damn near, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I guess that's strength right there.
Yeah.
He wasn't quite ready to go.
Interesting. Cool. Well, we've got a packed agenda today. We've got a lot to talk about in the Maryland world. I know that I don't know if you guys all remember, but was it last year when there was a road worker accident? It was near your house, actually.
It was very near my house. It was right near the Catonsville exit of the Baltimore Beltway, which is 695.
Right.
Megan, it was actually in March of 2023.
Okay.
Some clown was driving recklessly at over 100 miles per hour.
120.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Going through a work zone. They ended up killing 6 road workers.
That's just, terrible.
Yeah, so as a result, Maryland has enacted a new law, goes into effect in the new year. It's called the Maryland Road Worker Protection Act, and it's going to expand the use of speed cameras in work zones and raise penalties pretty significantly for traffic violations and reckless driving, of course. So I think that's a good law.
Yeah. It's going to be a tiered penalty system. So, sounds like some of the fees or the penalties can get up pretty high, but which they should be. I mean, just putting you're putting your life at risk being out there as a road worker, and then, you should feel safe out there. It's horrible.
Yeah. Another new little law, not a little law, it's very important, is apparently Maryland insurance companies now have to cover hearing aids up to $1,200.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, because I had no idea how expensive hearing aids are.
Yeah.
They can get up $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
My mother and both of my in-laws have hearing aids.
Okay.
Now they do the Kirkland brand for
Costco.
Okay.
Like 1,200.
Yeah. Costco makes everything.
Costco is the happiest.
All
place
roads
on
lead to
earth.
Costco.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Big fan.
All right. So another law that's passing is a new housing act that we have coming up.
Yeah, and it's gotten some good press and some bad press.
Yeah.
I mean, no laws are perfect, and whenever you enact a law, someone's going to be very happy about it, and then someone else is going to be less happy about it. And it certainly impacts what the three of us do for a living when we're not podcasting, which is real estate. It's the Housing Expansion and Affordability Act, and it's going to take effect in the new year. Essentially, it will prohibit jurisdictions from denying construction of manufactured and modular home construction types in what have typically been single-family zones.
Right, right.
So take that for what it's worth. The big pro is that, as we all know, there is a huge housing shortage presently.
Absolutely.
Hopefully this will alleviate that housing shortage. The naysayers are saying that it could raise the price of affordable housing, which, if you watch the market and have experience with the market, you know that that's certainly a possibility.
Plausible.
It could also interfere with more local zoning ordinances that have historically prohibited certain types of housing in certain areas. So this kind of does away with that. So it's quite possible that you'll see non-traditional housing types in areas that you're not used to seeing them.
Yeah, which is going to be different.
It'll be different. We'll see how it plays out.
But if it solves the problem of not, of creating more housing, and we're in such a just dire straits with housing, this, seems like it could be a good thing, but I know a lot of people feel differently about
we just
it.
cross our fingers and
Yeah.
hope it's a good thing.
It's the missing middle. That's really what it addresses.
It does. You're absolutely right, Pete. It addresses the missing middle. I mean, no one, at least in our area in Central Maryland, which overall is a very affluent area, no one's building affordable housing
Yeah.
for that missing middle. Yeah, good call.
Speaking of building new houses, out near Frederick, if you follow kind of that path up to Frederick from DC, there's a lot of new houses going up there. And Frederick, according to a new Money article, came out as one of the top 50 places to live in the U.S.
Yeah, Frederick is really like a boom town right
Yeah.
now. I think for those of us who have lived here forever, Frederick was kind of sometimes thought of as sort of a backwater, I guess.
Oh, okay. Since I haven't lived here forever, I didn't know
But
that.
that's certainly not the case now. It used to be considered an ex-burb. Now it's a true suburb.
Okay.
Mostly of D.C. If you look at, not to sound like a nerd, but if you look at the migration patterns of people leaving the close-in D.C. area, they're all moving out to Frederick,
Yeah.
Frederick City proper, and to Frederick County.
And Newmarket, that's kind of on
Yeah,
your-
Yeah, it's all that
Right.
area. Interestingly, Frederick is equidistant from D.C. and from Baltimore, but it seems to be kind of attracting more Washingtonians.
I mean, I see why. The downtown area is so cool. They've got breweries and shops. And then you can also, buy homes that are older and maybe more historic. And then you can also have the option of newer homes. So I see why it's so,
Condominiums, yeah.
Correct.
I see why it's so attractive.
And you can still get more home from your dollar than you can closer in Montgomery County, for instance. And Frederick is also really becoming a good food town. There are a lot of nice restaurants.
Yeah, good for the foodies.
Absolutely.
And then, so not only did Frederick make the list of top places to live, but we've got some top hospitals too.
Yeah, we've always had solid
Yeah.
hospitals in this area. Johns Hopkins is kind of the premier hospital in our area, in our region, and it ranked as the number 3 best hospital in the nation and the number 4 best hospital in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
We're
impressive.
so lucky to live near such great hospitals. I mean, where I grew up in Maine, you're driving really to Boston if you really need a good specialist. Even, there are good hospitals in Portland and Bangor, but really you have to drive quite a distance. And we're just so lucky to have these resources
We're
here.
very lucky to have those. Even my mom, for instance, who lives on the Delaware shore, her closest hospital is way down in Salisbury. It's about 40 minutes away.
Okay, yeah. Well, not only do we have good hospitals, but we have good colleges too.
Yeah, Forbes magazine released a list of what they're calling the new Ivy League schools. And a few Maryland universities ranked in these new Ivy League schools. Among the new public Ivies, the University of Maryland in College Park ranked very highly, and Johns Hopkins University, not the hospital, Johns Hopkins University, also ranked as among these new Ivy League schools. So that's cool. So
Yeah.
we've got hospitals, we've got academia. If only we had a bridge that worked.
Very good point there, John. So the Key Bridge, this was the only one I was really able to prepare for on my jog back from Florida. So I'll touch on this. The Key Bridge is a huge deal. So big that, fun fact, Roastmaster General Jeff Ross actually commented on this on Torching 2024, which is a Netflix special.
Oh.
Highly recommend it, really funny.
Okay.
But it was one of the points he brought up, just to, highlights of 2024 that weren't the best things to happen. Anyway, it is going to be replaced, or the construction's going to start on January 7th. They're projecting greater than $2 billion to get this thing done.
Right.
Easily 4 years to build. I'm sure it'll go longer. We're going to post a picture of the new bridge design, which is definitely a big change, and I think a positive change, certainly.
Right.
Taller and allow bigger ships to come through there. But that's a really big deal for us because it's going to open back up that whole right side of 695. That's been a huge loss.
Yeah,
So,
and since that happened, I mean, we've all been impacted by. Certainly the Port of Baltimore has been impacted, but just the commute times in the area, because that whole side of the Beltway is suddenly not drivable.
yeah, Dundalk and
Dundalk and Essex Hun and
well, we saw how much it affected. What's that?
A house that was for sale.
Yeah, like 1 o'clock on 695.
1 o'clock on 695. So we're talking so we've got Towson at like 12. 1 o'clock we've got like Parkville, Nottingham. All of that.
We've had a listing in Parkville, and we noticed how many houses were on the market at that time when there was houses nowhere else that were available.
Yeah, they're not moving because they're so hard to get to, and everyone has to change their commute. And
Exactly.
We just didn't think it would hit that far up north, essentially.
Yeah,
but it really did.
It really did.
It's like there's a huge literal missing link in that major highway system that goes around Baltimore City and links it to the surrounding areas. We rarely talk about our real estate business on this podcast.
Yeah.
But we've got clients who own homes in Dundalk,
Right.
Which is kind of where the old Key Bridge landed, and they're seriously considering selling their homes.
Yeah.
Many have had to. Yeah.
Because the commute is so bad right now.
And it could really affect property value because
it already
everyone
is.
knows. Yeah,
Yeah.
it will. Yeah,
In
it
fact,
We're
if
seeing
anyone
it.
wants a fun real estate tip, buy in Dundalk now.
will.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When values might be a little bit down, because
4
as soon
years
as-
from now. Yeah.
4 years from now, when that bridge is done, it's gonna go back up, I would imagine.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the Baltimore area and kind of fun things that are going on there, did you guys see the Instagram? I sent you guys an Instagram reel about Dave Portnoy.
Oh yeah.
He was at Tiny Brick Oven. Now, for those that don't know about Dave Portnoy, he is the owner of Barstool Sports, which I didn't know about until my neighbor showed me this Instagram, and now I'm like obsessed with watching his
Yeah, it
videos.
started out as like a sports betting newspaper.
Yeah.
Like a
Yep.
print thing.
Print-
Yeah.
In 2003, I
I
believe.
believe so.
So for years, I scrolled back a long time in his Instagram, so I don't know how long he's been doing this, but he's been going around to different pizza places all over the world.
He rates pizzas. Yeah.
And he rates pizzas, and it's so cool. Well, he was at Tiny Brick Oven Pizza, which is in Federal Hill.
It's right on Light Street.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
And he went in. This is a really cool pizza place. It's veteran owned, and the owner has been raising money for veterans and people in the city for years. Which is a great guy. I'm going to post the video to our Instagram page, which is Maryland Living Podcast. But you'll be able to see the video. But he ended up walking in. He rated the pizza. The guy was so full of energy.
Just like the most upbeat guy.
He's so upbeat,
Yeah.
and he shared with Dave, "Hey, I'm going to be closing my business. I can't get my liquor license. Just business isn't going well." Well, now my neighbor's son went in there, and it was packed. It was jam packed, which is so great. And Dave ended up giving him $60,000.
$60,000 to keep him afloat, which is amazing. And now business is booming because of all of the positive press that this guy is.
And it's
So cool.
1036 Light Street, Federal Hill. So if
1036
anybody wants
Light
to
Street.
visit.
Yeah, veteran
please
owned.
do.
William Fagg is the owner.
Correct. I think that's another team field trip that we need to
We
do.
do.
We definitely need to do
Yeah, I want to go. We should do it.
And the rating was what, 7.8?
I think so. I think so. Now, I
7.9.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Portnoy, as he's walking out, you go, 7.9.
That's pretty
Yeah.
strong for, New York style pizza.
Absolutely.
I didn't take it too seriously when he gave the guy 60,000 because I didn't know about him and I didn't know what he did. So I just kind of assumed he did this with everyone, and he doesn't. This is like a one-off situation where he gave this guy money.
Christmas spirit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it was right during the holidays, which made it even, I think, more meaningful.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is the owner, William Fagg, he, as you said, Megan, he gives back to the community, raises money for the needy in the area. On the heels of all of this positive press, his GoFundMe that he set up to help the needy in the area has raised over $105,000.
I mean,
Wow.
it couldn't happen to a better person.
Yeah, no,
That's a big deal.
such a nice story. So, thanks to Dave Portnoy, thanks to Barstool Sports.
The attention to Baltimore, I think it drew.
Some good attention.
Yeah.
Go get some good pizza.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
get some good pizza, gang.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I can't wait to go check it out.
Yeah.
Another thing I checked out this weekend, which I've been talking a lot about, I think I've mentioned it twice on our podcast, is I did go to down to check out the horses.
Oh, the Clydesdales.
The Clydesdales,
Yeah,
yeah.
nice.
We went to the parade, and honestly, it was amazing.
Was it
was
really?
actually probably one of the best parades I've ever been
What made
to.
it great?
Just the bands were so cool. They were dancing as they were playing their instruments. And just, anytime you have the Clydesdale there, it just seems like a big deal. And it was kind of
It's
a rainy
epic.
day, but there were crowds of people. We went down a little early, grabbed lunch at Federal House, and walked around, got ice cream, and then hung out for the parade. And it was fun. It was cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Very good. Very good.
All right, well, the next time we'll be recording our podcast, it will be the new year. So we got to talk about New Year's resolutions.
Do we, though?
We do.
Okay,
I want to hear what you guys want to do in the new year. What's your goals?
I'm going to work off this fat that I got over this past week. That's really my goal.
I know.
Work out
Everyone
at least
seems
3
to be
times a
around
week.
health related. Mine too. I just want to be healthier.
I want to be healthier also.
Yeah.
And I've put on some extra tonnage over the last few weeks myself. So
Some buoyancy.
need to burn that off. As far as other resolutions go, I knew that you
Perhaps
were...
timeliness could be one.
Well, yeah, punctuality. I knew you were going to say that, my friend.
That's every year.
So I'll work on punctuality. Patience, too. I think that's a big one.
Okay, I can see that.
My daughter-in-law, the doctor, whenever we're saying grace before a meal or something, she'll always say, and patience.
Oh.
And at first I thought it meant like because she's a doctor, she wants to make sure she always has patience. Because if she doesn't have patience, she's out of business.
Right.
But no, patience. Just patience. And I think that if I can exercise some patience with family, with colleagues, that I just think it'll be a better year.
Yeah, no, I can see
I think
that.
we can all take a page from that one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. For another thing for me, and one of my goals for this year is just to cut out some of the things that I don't need to be doing. We overextend ourselves so much.
Anything in particular?
Well, I don't know.
Podcasting?
No, I think I'll keep up with the
Yeah, good, me
podcasting, but just really focus on work and the kids, and outside of that, getting healthy. That's pretty much it.
Yep, stick to the core.
So,
Family.
absolutely. Well, we look forward to talking with everyone in the new year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2025.
Right downtown.
Here fast.
If you said no, it'd be a pity, yeah. 'Cause you know how